I was at a Mexican restaurant the other day and a soap opera happened to be on. I realized that it's no wonder that drama was idealized by a lot of people in this country. These shows, as well as most romance movies, make drama and wallowing in misery look glamorous as opposed to actually fixing your problems, not repeating the same mistakes, learning from your mistakes, and getting away from negatively influencing people, which seems boring and would require them to actually write a good script. And the older generation can't figure out why the goth and emo kids evolved? They actually handed them drama and raised them in a media culture of emotional suffering. Of course, the goths actually have some sense of glamour and class. Emo kids are so dark and gloomy they can't even bother to have a sense of fashion. Everything about relationships I knew growing up because of my homeschooling and other issues are what I learned on TV, which is something that took me a long time to learn is nothing but fiction. There was a big deal growing up that kids couldn't tell the difference between fantasy and reality, as I remember a few kids jumping off the roof and killing themselves because they thought they could fly with a cape on. Of course I knew that. Superman wasn't real. However, no one bothered to tell me that everything on TV was unrealistic as well, and not even close to the way things actually happen, especially in terms of relationships and human interaction. I assumed that being a hopeless romantic lost in my dreams would land me a supermodel. Not in those words, of course, because TV, especially Disney, showed that love always prevails and will overcome all hurdles. I was such a hopeless romantic and an idealist of infatuation and emotion that when I was around anyone I liked, I was so overwhelmed with nervousness and infatuation that I couldn't even say 2 words to them, and was so awkward that I could hardly be attractive to them at all. As I've said before, infatuation is like taking a snort of cocaine, then trying to do something as complicated as driving. Long-distance infatuation is a bit more difficult for guys than girls as well, because pair bonding in women requires oxytocin, which requires actual skin contact and cuddling or sex to induce pair bonding, while a guy just has to feel sexually aroused to feel pair bonded. So the guy will assume that the girl feels pair bonded to him when she's probably utterly oblivious of him, making him clingy without ever actually having interacted with her. Women, of course, do not get this drug as often as guys do, so they have even less experience with controlling their pair bonding emotions once they've interacted with someone physically, and teens and some adult women can get seriously clingy as they feel bonded, while the guy, of course, doesn't. Another problem I had was the mortifying fear of rejection. Studies have shown that the brain reacts to rejection in the exact same way that it reacts to physical pain. So being turned down when you feel pair bonded and your young brain is flooded with infatuation feels like a punch in the gut, a breakup and a drug withdrawal all at the same time. Oddly, studies have shown that Tylenol reduces the pain from rejection. The link is in the sidebar. I remember the number of rejections I got left me feeling emotionless and scarred. However, it was doing more than that. Nature was giving me a psychological workout on an emotional level. The loss of emotion was lowering my emotional tolerance. If your skin is tender, you will be more easily hurt. Once you build up a callus, you can do a better job. I felt dark because of this, but something people forget to tell you is that calluses go away once you are no longer doing a job. Once you are in a long-term relationship and can trust that person, the calluses will drop off. It's not as depressing or dark as the media might make it seem. Now that I am pair bonding, I don't need the calluses anymore. If your tummy is flabby, a punch to the gut will knock the wind out of you. If you work out and get, say, a six-pack, a punch to the gut will feel more like a challenge than a devastation. Overcoming these natural weaknesses and psychological mechanisms, which take a lot of work and mental fortitude, will allow you to find someone you can be happy with. Or you can wallow in drama and hopeless romanticism like I did, and either jump from bad relationship to bad relationship, or you can spend the rest of your life alone. All the effort I went through was well worth it. My life is significantly enhanced by the one I'm with.